Hello, this is Arturelia Gaming Room Reviews. I'm Arturo, and today I'll be reviewing
Devil May Cry 2.
Devil May Cry 2 came out, just 2 years after the first one. However, sadly, it didn't get the best reviews. It still sold well, despite the criticism. However, since a lot of people don't like Devil May Cry 2 due to the certain changes that happen with Dante, but also the gameplay mechanics and some issues, what do I think of it? Well, today I'll be reviewing Devil May Cry 2, a sequel to the first. Let's go. The story is set in a fictional city of Villa de Marley, where Dante and Lucia face off against demons and creatures to stop a businessman from causing chaos and raising a demon, Argus, or whatever it's called. I am bad at pronouncing these names, sorry. And becoming powerful. The soundtrack in here is just as catchy as the first one. Really catchy music in the game. As for Dante, I can say that he is very different. His personality is different too, besides the first game, which some people may have an issue with, because Dante was always someone that would taunt his foes or make fun of them and say funny stuff. But no, in here he is more serious and just has more of this serious personality throughout the game. However, though, he's still a badass. And the new character, Lucia, is an interesting character. The gameplay itself, while it's kind of the same, it's very different. It still has its slasher type feel, like the first, but unlike the first, there are changes here and there. However, it is still fun to play. The controls are good, but there's one big issue with the gameplay mechanics. And it's the camera. Sometimes when you're fighting foes or whatnot, sometimes the camera can be positioned very oddly. Even when you're walking around, it's positioned kind of weird. It just feels kind of strange that it's like that. So most people have had complaints about the camera. Also, the fighting can be pretty repetitive after a while, but you can pull off some cool moves in some cases. But, kind of like the first one, I believe. Sometimes when you try to hit these balls to power up something, the aim doesn't really work the best. Well, in general, there's actually no aim when you hit these balls. You have to stay pretty close to it to hit it. Overall, the controls are fine, like I mentioned. The inventory is fine. You get basically the same stuff like from the first game, but you do get new weapons, which is nice, like a rocket launcher and new types of swords. And like the first, you can also power up Dante and even Lucia. As for this game's multiplayer, there's none. As for replay value, this game actually comes with 2 discs. You can play Dante's part, and you also could play Lucia's part, which her parts are basically the same levels as Dante's, but you get different perspectives from her viewpoint and sometimes certain different boss battles. And a little bit more details of the character, even the villain himself. Another part of the replay value is that after you beat the game, you could replay it again. You could even select the missions that you want to play again, or play them on hard mode. You can also select different costumes for the characters. And when you replay it again, you have all the stuff that you had when you played it the first time. However, there is one issue I do have to say. Even on normal, it's still kind of easy. In the first one on normal mode, I died several times. In this game, I only died maybe 2-3 times or so. It wasn't as much as the first one. This game is practically easier, even on normal. I haven't played it on hard, but I heard that it was still pretty easy to beat. Devil May Cry 2 it does have its issues. Dante's different in his personality and camera angles, you know. Gameplay can be a little bit repetitive, but it's not, but that's the point of the game. However, though, despite these issues, I mean, you still get an interesting character like Lucia, and Dante I still like, even though he's darker in this one. He's still a badass character. The villain, you know, has his motives, and, you know, it was different. I can say it was different than the first game. Overall, though, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. It is still a good game leading up to being great, but obviously its flaws kind of hold it back a little bit. But it's still a fun game. I can say that. If you like the Devil May Cry series or want to collect them, this is a game you would still like to play, even though of its flaws. But yeah, I like this game. It was good. I do think the first one had better like gameplay mechanics and all that, but but this is basically a sequel, and I do usually like sequels that take place after something. Usually, but overall it is a good game. My recommendations, obviously, Devil May Cry 3 and 4. And Devil May Cry 3 is a prequel to the first and second game, while Devil May Cry 4 takes place between, I believe, 1 and 2 or so, around there. The timeline's basically mixed around, but overall these are the last two of the Devil May Cry series before they made the one that's, well, a lot of people don't like as much. I mean, the gameplay looks cool, but I don't really care for the character design. Well, this is Arturelia, Gaming Room Reviews, signing off.
No! My dream! My life! I was going to be the king of this world! King? Yeah. Here's your crown.